So the Texans play their third preseason game this weekend, and they'll play it in a building that is damaged. The pictures came out yesterday of what fans and the players are going to have to deal with when they go to NRG. Now there's a new look to the end zones, which correlates to the new uniforms, which is cool. People are excited about that. But if you look up to the sky, I mean, it's not exactly the whole we gave God a view to watch the Cowboys thing that old Texas Stadium is. It's more like, hey, barrel happened. It's going to take some time to fix. So you can see the beautiful blue skies of Texas in a couple different parts of the roof because they don't exist anymore. So that's what's going to happen if you go to NRG this weekend, and I imagine it'll stretch into the regular season too before they get that fixed. So that's happening. But the game itself, will we see Davis Mills? I don't know, but he's missed practice, and it caused not a stir per se, but people wanted to know, where is Davis Mills? He hadn't practiced for a couple of days. The Texans weren't really talking about it. So finally, a reporter asked D'Amico Ryans, what's up with Davis Mills? And here's what D'Amico had to say.
Everything okay with Davis Mills? We haven't seen him take snaps the last 2 days, and today we didn't see him out on the field too much.
Everything's good with Davis. Feel good about Davis. He's done a really good job for us all throughout training camp and preseason, so feel really good about Davis.
I call that a non-answer because I don't think the question is, what do you feel about Davis Mills? It wasn't even a question of his status on the roster. Just, where is he? Why isn't he practicing? And it turns out Davis Mills has like a rib thing. And I think that's a simple answer. Oh, he's a little banged up. He gave D'Amico an out. Oh, we feel good about Davis. That's not what I'm asking for. You know I'm not asking how you feel about Davis Mills. I'm asking you why he's not out here. You can tell him he's got a rib. It's a preseason. You don't get a competitive advantage by telling me that Davis Mills won't be available for the Giants. Besides, he's not even your real backup quarterback. You proved that last year. When injury happens to C.J. Stroud, you go to Case Keenum. The only time Davis Mills gets in is when the Case Keenum magic runs out in the second game and you're getting your ass kicked. So now, Davis, run in there and see what you can do.
He's a relief quarterback.
To the relief quarterback. It is very weird that they will make him the second quarterback in a preseason game, but when it comes down to it, when they need productive snaps in the regular season, not you, Davis Mills. We'll go to Case.
But Davis was the guy who, when I think C.J. Stroud had I forgot if he got his bell rung. Not a concussion, but got hit in the head
Against the
Cardinals, I want to say.
Okay.
And he had to leave the game, and they went to the bullpen, and it was Davis Mills.
Davis Mills is the backup when there's an injury that C.J. can't come back from in whether it be a series or a game.
Yeah.
But when they need to start a guy, it's Case.
Yeah. He's a reliever.
And Case is their fifth starter, I guess, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
In this scenario, I don't know. I don't get that, but it is what they decided. Case is probably better off, at least in their eyes, starting a game and trying to finish one. And Davis Mills, he'll run you out there when CJ is going to miss a play or maybe a series or in some cases, unfortunately, the entire rest of the game. So that's there. Davis Mills appears to be fine. He just wasn't at practice. The bigger news was the report from Aaron Wilson that Matthew Judon was a guy on the Texans' radar. And you think about their roster, what they've done to bolster their defensive line. You could probably say the guys in the middle, outside of Nico Autry, who unfortunately won't be available for the first 6 games, are just guys. I say just guys because if you say Jag, it makes it sound like you're insulting them. No, the Settles of the world, the Mario Edwards of the world, they're just guys. They're fine. They can be plug-and-place guys. You're not going to get killed there, but they're not going to be guys who differentiate themselves from the next one. They're just dudes who can fill space. But Matthew Judon, potentially team with Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson, and then when Danico gets back for the outside, the pass rush, that kind of turns some heads. Why are they going after Matthew Judon? Now, he is a Cardinal. He's a Falcon. Different bird. He's a Falcon. He required a 3rd-round pick, and I think that was like the barrier of entry that the Texans decided, we're out. We're not giving up a 3rd-round pick for a rental. I don't think the Texans were interested in giving a 32-year-old an extension. Matthew Judon will play for about $6.2 million this year, and we'll see what the Falcons do with that. But the Texans are interested in players. It would lead us to believe that maybe they don't want to use the term all in, but they're a team that are looking for guys who can help this team no matter no matter what you might think about their roster, if they can find a guy that can help, even if it's a name that may cost you in draft compensation, they'll try. They'll try to make the acquisition. Just didn't work out. Here's D'Amico Ryans talking about their philosophy when it comes to acquiring good football players.
Good football players is what I'm looking for. At whatever the position is, any good football players that can help us, that's what we're looking to continue to add to our team and be as good as possible. For myself and Nick, is something that we continue to evaluate, right? Our team is never set. So whatever players, right, come up or available, whatever it is, we look into all those situations to see how can we improve our team. That's our job, to improve our team and put the best team together for the Texans, and that's what it's all about. Thanks, all right.
That's a reasoned approach, but it's also one that talks about their aggressiveness. They are not going to sit on their hands when it comes to this roster, and particularly this year. You would think with the second-year quarterback and even young skill position guys like Tank and Nico, who are going to be around for a little bit, that they might have decided to take a more patient approach to this build. Now, they've been bad for enough years that the fans might say, we're done with patience, but this particular version of the Texans with D'Amico as a head coach has a lot of leeway. You didn't have to trade for Stephon Diggs. You didn't have to give big money to Danielle Hunter, but they did because they see an opportunity here. And sure, the Chiefs are at the top, but there's a potential void for the next team. And honestly, if you go player by player, you might start to think player by player, the Chiefs and the Texans aren't so different, except you have the magic man at quarterback in Patrick Mahomes and also Andy Reid. So there's some institutional belief in the Chiefs. But you talk about the rest of the AFC and the rosters, the Texans are right there, and they were trying to add a piece, just didn't work out. I welcome it. We've gone from kind of this bland version of them to the awful version we saw in previous iterations with Nick Caserio as the head man in charge as far as player personnel, to this version where if they see a chance to make a move, they got Joe Mixon for very little. Now, they gave up something for Stephon Diggs, but they saw an opportunity and they went after it. So I think that's going to be the position they take from here on out, particularly if they can get these guys on short-term deals where they can try. And if it doesn't work out, no harm done.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the side of I rather you err on the side of being not even too aggressive because they didn't actually make the move. It seems clear, like you said, that the third-round pick cost was too much. So what were they offering? Like a fourth and a sixth? Fourth and a sixth next year or something. So sniffing around situations like this where you can get a veteran on a discount, a veteran pass rusher or any position like D'Amico Ryans was saying, at a discount like this, and you're not worried about, well, we gave up this much. We're gonna have to sign him to a new contract. We're not giving up that much, so we don't need to give him a new contract. Maybe we could just try to bolster our team for this year and then see where it goes from there. Kind of like it's really a lower stakes Stephon Diggs deal, or would have been a lower stakes Stephon Diggs deal, where Diggs was the second round pick after they traded out of the first round, and they used some of that ammunition to get Diggs. This, again, he went for a third round pick. The Texans probably didn't match that, so you don't get him.
Yeah, and I will say one of my biggest pet peeves about team building and really coaches in game, they have this thing where they lean into the best possible scenario is always going to happen. So we talk about Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter and Danico Autry when he comes back, but let's not pretend that an injury can't pop up. And now you're all of a sudden short at defensive end as opposed to feeling like you have a good rotation. So they looked looked into it and said, you know what, that's too much. And as long as your team is looking to always improve and also having the patience to know, all right, what they're asking for is too much, and the Falcons are going to swing with a third round pick, let them have them. We will keep it moving and then look again to see if we can make a move to strengthen our team. So the Texans will be patient but aggressive, and that's what you want from a team who has a real shot to make some noise in the AFC. It feels like they're a good football team on the field and one that's being run pretty well as well, which is something we haven't been able to say really almost in the entirety of the organization. For the first time maybe ever, we aren't questioning someone who makes decisions for the Texans.
I was going to say, I think Nick Caserio maybe doesn't have full immunity of he can kind of do whatever and you have to trust him. But he's up there where he has a pretty big benefit of the doubt, I think, at this point, where he's just proven it time and time again that, hey, you know what? Let him cook. He's probably going to make a pretty good dish.
Yeah, which is a far cry from what we thought of him. Oh, he's the Patriot South guy. What does he know? He wasn't even running that team. That's Bill Belichick's team, and they had a poor history in the draft. Just draft yourself a great quarterback, and you can pretty much do anything. And he's gotten a lot of credit for drafting C.J. Stroud. You could say, well, it was a thing where the entire organization came together to make that happen, but he's the GM of record, so he gets credit for that. And so far, all his moves, for the most part, have worked out really well, and that's why the Texans are where they are.